Master Chief's sex life, ass, and angry gamers are what you can look forward to in this episode of Raptor Nuggets. What do you think of Master Chief's ass?
I love it. I mean,
Good. You should.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there who don't agree with the sentiment of loving Pablo's
A little bit, but
sweet butt.
yeah, I've seen it. It's been quite.
I mean, the
You know
controversy
how
is
it goes.
unfounded, in my personal
Yeah.
opinion. I mean, Halo, the TV series, for the longest period of time we've known, is its own thing. It's a silver timeline event, so it doesn't take place in the same universe as the games. And yet, we have the fandoms crying out there because Master Chief is showing some emotion. And his
Yeah.
butt. More importantly, his butt. That's literally how all the controversy started and why we have Master Cheeks as a thing. And that's how Pablo Schreider's character is now known in the fandom, the Halo fandom.
I just don't understand it. The big issue started with the fact that it wasn't canon in the first place. So
Correct.
why would you have issue with unmasking and taking off pants in a show you know has no bearing on your beloved franchise?
So I suppose that's where the difficulty comes in. So even though Microsoft and 343 and all the other relevant companies have all stipulated that, hey, listen, this is a silver timeline show. It's inspired by the Halo universe, but it's not set in the universe that you know from the games, because they felt that doing that they would never be able to do it justice, basically. You know, they were like, let their games have their own thing, because if we try and adapt that, somewhere along the way we're going to make a mistake. And, you know, sure, you can argue that until you're blue in the face, that no, it should have been a direct adaptation. But you know what? That's not what we got. What we got is a Halo franchise that deviates in many respects from the original canon, and in my personal opinion, for the better. And what I mean by that is for the better from a TV perspective. Don't get me wrong, a full-on adaptation of, the Halo game to TV show probably could work, but I kind of like to see the humanity in Master Chief. He's human after all. He's just cybernetically and genetically enhanced, but he is still normal. So why is it an issue then to see him fall in love with someone and to bare his ass to the screen?
It's so weird to me. It's difficult to fathom why you'd be angry about it in the first place, because there are many franchises, many, who have different universes or timelines or whatever you want to call it in different mediums.
Correct.
So what makes Halo different? You know?
Gamers.
That's the thing. And I guess it all comes down to toxic fandoms. And
yes, rather unfortunately, I think. Look, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having an opinion, a differing opinion. But in the sense of the Halo the series television series, we are of the opinion that it has been too harshly judged, whereby the gaming fandom has just come out with pitchforks ready to burn down anything that touches the beloved Master Chief. Now, please understand, I'm a huge fan of Halo. I played it on my original Xbox. I played every single one of the games. I actually really enjoyed Halo Infinite, despite a lot of people saying that it wasn't very good. And, perhaps from a narrative perspective, it wasn't. But from a gameplay perspective, it was superb. That grappling hook is just, it just changes the way the game feels. Anyway, let me not get too drawn up into that. So, I do get why the gaming fandom has been upset about it. This is not the Master Chief we've come to grow up with. This is not the Master Chief we've always known. He is still stoic and hard, but the TV show shows a completely different aspect of him. They show him as human. They show him as somebody who has lust and needs, apparently, that need to be fulfilled on screen.
Of course.
Yes, exactly. So, personally speaking, I actually enjoyed the show. Yes, it's not the best science fiction show on TV, But is it a decent show? Absolutely. Could it have worked without being part of the Halo universe? Yes. And I suppose
Yeah.
that's maybe where a lot of the fans are coming in and being like, why did you bother making it Halo if you weren't really going to be authentic towards it? And, to those fans, I'd say, in many respects, the show is authentic. It has the covenant. It explores that aspect of it quite well, actually. Perhaps my biggest criticism of the show would be Kwan Ha, who needs to go die in a fire and not return for the second season because she was just the most irritating character. Like, Master Chief doesn't need a sidekick because his sidekick has always been Cortana. So
Basically,
I'll give fans that as an aspect of why you could be
Quana
unhappy about the show.
kind of reminds me of that annoying fan in the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. When you join the arena and then you get this fan who follows you everywhere. That's who Quana reminds me of.
Look, her whole arc was pointless. All right,
Yeah.
she came around Master Chief, she was Master Chief's sidekick for a short period of time. Then she had some whole other separate storyline that literally no one cares about because, let's be real here, people want Master Chief. Okay,
Yeah.
we want to know who he is. We want to explore him and to do with the Covenant. And there was that other lady whose name I've actually completely forgotten because she came and she served her purpose and then disappeared. Sorry, hashtag spoiler. But the show on its own, from a fun sci-fi perspective, I think did a really good job. In fact, I would argue and say that this was really good for the franchise because it's introducing many people to the Halo universe, therefore allowing people to now discover the games, to discover the novels, and because they enjoyed the show. And I think what's interesting about that, and I know we're talking about fandoms to an extent here, but one really good example of this, of a huge turnaround, is Cyberpunk 2077. Hey,
Yeah.
Ed, isn't that right?
Yeah. Yeah. So for Cyberpunk, the game was fairly criticized.
Unfairly criticized.
Both. That's another argument for another day.
Debatable.
But things happened, and this majorly hyped game basically just tanked. Thanks to a recent adaptation, though, called Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which takes place in the same universe. It's an anime. It's on Netflix. All episodes are bingeable right now. Thanks to this admittedly amazing anime, Cyberpunk is now breaking records. It just broke the Witcher 3 record for playable hours and playable
That's
people at
absolutely
once.
incredible. Yeah.
So, I think the whole Master Chief thing, the Halo series, Silver Timeline thing, will ultimately result in more people playing Halo.
Yes.
That's the hope anyway. But why? I just don't get why people are angry because of that.
That's because of the cheeks. It's because the cheeks had screen time, Edward.
I mean, we all want to see more
As if
butts.
No one has seen an ass before.
That's the thing. Like,
no,
show
it was
me
because
all
it was
the
Master
ass.
Chief's butt. Yes, thank you. Exactly.
I want ass. I want abs. I want all the things. Just show it to me. Gosh.
Yeah, look, I think that for the most part, the fandom has been somewhat irrational in this regard. And I do personally hope that within time, they will begin to accept the Silver Timeline because it's not going away. It's been renewed for a second season because it's become quite popular and it's one of Paramount Plus's most watched TV series.
I wonder why.
It's because of those cheeks, Edward.
Yeah, exactly. The Master Cheeks.
The Master Cheeks. Look, again, part of what I said has to do with the fact that, TV is a different medium, okay? Yeah. And so you can explore certain things in a different way, and sometimes you need to explore things in a different way. If you had a character much like the one in the games who just didn't speak, it could work, but then at the same time, I feel it would detract from the experience because in the game, you take on Master Chief's persona. So you are him. And I think maybe that's also why people feel so strongly about it. But that aside, to have a silent protagonist in a film is not quite the same thing. Sure, maybe they could have eased up a little bit on the cheeks and the things that came from that, like the sex scenes and so on and so forth. But you know what? It happened. And he's human. And that was the point of the show. The show expresses John 117's humanity far better, in my opinion, than the games have over the last decade. Because he's a very stoic, stern character, and it's very rare that you see those sides of him. Whereas I think the TV series has just decided to be like, no, this is what we're going to show. He's human. He's, not as stoic as we all give him credit for, or he is, but not to that point of being so rigid. Now, what's interesting about this is how we're still getting other adaptations, which are, going in a wholly different way, like The Last of Us, which I'm very curious about.
They're remaking the game into a TV series.
So just for quick context there, The Last of Us has been, it was remastered twice, and now it's been remade. Yes. And now the TV show is an almost perfect adaptation of the original game. I didn't even think about that. Maybe say that for a future Raptor Nuggets episode. Look, I suppose at the end of the day, we're just two fans talking about the things that we love. So what do you think? Do you think the Master Chief's thing has been blown out of proportion? Do you think that he should be more stoic and stern? What do you think of adaptations? How good are some of them? How bad are others? Because goodness knows we're going to be speaking more about adaptations in the future because they're always around and they're always happening. And we have opinions. We have nuggets to share. So until the next episode, ciao.
Bye.